We just have a lot of families out there. Due to the economy, things have gotten a lot worse for families.
Health issues are often a contributing factor. Of course, with the economy, there's many job issues that are out there.
I think that a lot of times people don't recognize what is homelessness.
They assume that if a family is homeless, they're sleeping under the bridge or they're sleeping in their car. And that's not necessarily true.
I used to think that too, that we didn't have very many homeless people, but I think that was a misconception in my mind of what a homeless person was. I mean, I knew there were homeless people that didn't have homes and lived in shelters, but I used to think that that was the definition of homeless.
For schools, homelessness includes sharing the housing of others due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason, including running away from their home or being forced to leave home, staying in shelters and transitional housing programs, sleeping in cars, parks, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, campgrounds, and public spaces, and living in motels.
Homelessness is not living under a bridge alone. Homelessness is living with an aunt, living with a cousin, living with a friend, living with somebody because your family doesn't have the financial wherewithal to have your own home. So you're a guest somewhere. And as a guest, you're always walking on eggshells.
We have a lot of these little motels around town and that you pay by the week, and you'll have 6, 7 people in one room. And they're in this hotel trying to make it and trying to get to school.
And at the high school level, it changes so frequently. The kids will couch surf, or they'll move in with this person or that person.
They don't know where they're going to get their next meal. I mean, what to us might be just a little snack, might be the only meal that they get.
And a lot of times these kids are scared to talk because they have a lot of pride. They don't want people to know.
The International Baccalaureate requires that they do 2 and 3 hours of homework a night. So if the child doesn't have access to a place to sit down and do homework, he's not going to be able to function.
I know there's been studies where they move from school to school. I mean, they lose a portion of their academic skills.
Homelessness creates many challenges for children and youth. Instability, not knowing where they'll sleep. Embarrassment, needing help but not wanting anyone to know about their situation. Poor physical health, hunger, overcrowding, and fatigue. Emotional stress, worrying about their safety, siblings, parents, and future. Lack of transportation. Lack of school supplies, hygiene supplies, and clothing. Prejudice and misunderstanding about homelessness.
These kids are striving to stay in school and graduate and don't have a stable place to live.
Wherever they've been going to school, they feel like that's their home. You know, I've had several students and they don't want to go start all over.
So no matter where she goes, which shelter's mother's in tonight, she is able to come back to Jefferson tomorrow. And she can wake up in 11 different shelters and know, okay, tomorrow I'm going to eat breakfast at Jefferson. Tomorrow I'm going to eat lunch at Jefferson. And while Mama finds us a shelter, I can go to tutoring at Jefferson.
They were homeless, and we got them into our school, and then we discovered pretty quickly that the young lady was very intelligent. We talked to her about entering one of our academy programs. And they continued to move around, but we wanted her to stay. You know, she became our adopted child, so to speak, at Turner High School. And we wanted to make sure that she stayed there. And of course, she stayed with us for 4 years, and then she's going to graduate next year from Harvard with a dual major. So those kind of stories are wonderful, and we have lots of stories like that.
From Thanksgiving break until almost Christmas, they didn't have electricity. And I finally got him to speak because he was one of our top students, and then he wasn't. And so I was talking to him. I said, you got to tell me what's going on. What can we work with? And he was talking about dropping out. He's a junior. He's old enough to drop out. He could do it. He wanted to go to work and help his family. And I was like, no, there are better ways we can handle this. And between the things we've had in school, they were able to get him electricity back in the house. They were able to help him get some food, get the family and help the mother because it's a single parent household, and all of those things. And so he's back on track and talking about going to college again.
If they had to go from school to 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 school, it makes it very hard for them to function, and then hard to catch up, and this teacher hasn't covered this, that teacher has, and then they get frustrated, and so as soon as they can, they drop out of high school. Well, then if they drop out of high school, then you've got a dropout, and they don't have the skills to get a good job, then society's supporting them. So you might as well support them up front and get them to school so that they can graduate, and then they'll pay taxes and support the rest of us.
A federal law called the McKinney-Vento Act helps schools support homeless children, youth, and families. It requires school districts to designate a homeless education liaison to identify and serve homeless students, allows students to remain stable in their school even if their living situation changes, requires schools to enroll homeless students, including youth on their own, immediately. Homeless students are automatically eligible for free meals, and limited federal funding is available, although current funding reaches only 1 in 10 school districts.
To me, it's like a sphere, and all of us work off the same sphere, and we all have these jobs to do, but the crux of it is the McKinney-Vento Act allows us to do this.
It fits with our district goals of high achievement for all students. If we're able to take care of their needs, they're going to achieve.
I would say awareness is the key.
So if you're a faith-based community or you're an agency that does something totally different, law enforcement or firefighters, then you know of somebody that's going through a hard time, and tell them your children have the right to remain in school.
Sometimes they just need some money to buy groceries or gas.
Their transportation is always a problem at the high school. Somebody that might fix their car. Somebody that could buy them a tank of gas. Brakes. Tires.
There are kids that are living in motels that have to do a science project.
School supply type of fundraisers where they'll bring backpacks full of school supplies to the school, and then we can keep that, and then when we know that there's somebody that needs it, we can give that to the kids.
We just started a Snack Pack for Kids weekend food program, and we've been going on that 3 or 4 months now, and we got the word out through our media about that program, and the support has been phenomenal. People are sending me money, they're doing fund drives, they're doing drives just for the items that go in the snack pack. So I think just getting the word out there, we can hook them up with the resources and how they want to help. Some people want to give money, some people want to give time. It just depends on what they want to offer, but we can put them to good use.
We had a room full of prom dresses that were donated to us from different dress shops, and the kids, and we had it set up like a little store, and the kids came in and they would find their dress, and we would let them go into the back and try on their dresses.
We do have a mentor program that outside community members could be a part of.
Somebody that the students know will be there, and it doesn't matter what they do. I have some mentors that come and they work on the computers with students. Some just come and talk, and others bring cards or board games, just to open up a dialogue. And I think having a stable adult to come in and work with the students, I think that's helpful.
How you can support students experiencing homelessness? Get the word out about child and youth homelessness and how schools can help. Contact your local school counselor to see if you can mentor a student. Contact your local school district homeless education liaison, school counselor, or school social worker to ask what they need, such as monetary donations or gift cards, school supplies, transportation assistance, eyeglasses, hygiene supplies, or food.
I have always felt in positions that I've had that education is the only permanent solution to poverty. And I'm a firm believer, having worked in homelessness, that education is the only permanent solution to to homelessness.
We have 61 families, or 61 children right now who are homeless in our community, and I'm proud to say that we're still a recognized school. We're shooting for example.